Just like the narcissist, people who get involved in toxic relationships are often from toxic family situations. Alcoholics and personality disordered parents are too busy getting their own needs met to pay attention or give any time to making sure or considering their children's needs being met. This can be anything, and often are things like having enough to eat, having clothes that aren't too small or worn out, but most importantly, paying attention to and seeing their children. We all must be seen. It's known that babies and young children can even die without the proper amount of attention from a caregiver. Those who do survive are often left with a host of physical and mental illnesses. The lack of interest and attention from our primary caregivers can cause us to have low functioning immune systems, together with other disorders caused by stress and the overall effects of trauma. We are never made to feel safe, and this results in us being hypervigilant, never feeling settled and being fraught with anxiety. So then we go into adulthood with this deficit of love, this space where normally there would be love, attention and affection, but instead is an empty, painful hole, a wound. This wound leads to conditions known as codependency, a constant yearning and searching for something to fill this hole and take the pain away. Often we put up with far more than a healthy person would. The toxicity of some relationships is overlooked in favour for the crumbs of attention and affection we get from them. Also, the template of being in relationships and friendships with emotionally distant or emotionally vacant people is familiar to us and ultimately reminds us of home. So when we meet the narcissist, who is a person who is also attempting to fill a hole within themselves, but by using lies, deception and abuse to lure people in so they can gain supply. The love bombing stage the narcissist uses initially to hook the target so that they can then hold them in abuse that they dish out in order to feel superior. During this stage, they will bombard this prospective target with attention and affection. They will overdose them with being seen and validated, overwhelmed with acceptance and physical touch and interactions. Often for some people, this will be the first time ever for them that they have felt seen to this extent by someone else. This is why this stage is so intoxicating to most who end up in these situations, and so addicting. It is no wonder the target turns a blind eye to the initial red flags they may have seen. The narcissist goes above and beyond to fill the hole they have identified within you, and the more you get hooked on their attention and illusions, the more excited the narcissist gets at the prospect of this new supply. The narcissist understands the dynamics of connection and validation and the power of it, especially for those who have been starved of it all or for most of their lives. Often because of childhoods, we are not able to identify the telltale signs of toxic people. Healthy people will see this overdone love bombing and it will make them feel uneasy, but for a starving person any food is good, and the quality becomes irrelevant when being confronted with any offers of it. The sad truth is often that the targets of these narcissists have never, and often it seems they will never, have this kind of attention and connection, validation, etc. ever again. Even after learning about narcissists and realizing that it was all an illusion, all smoke and mirrors, the feelings were real and intensely impacting on us. After eventually leaving the relationship, whether by being discarded or being the one who discards them, often after going back to them multiple times, being constantly flattened, devalued, hurt, deceived and abused, we are still left with the strong painful memory in our minds and our bodies of the feelings we experienced with this person. This can be the turning point for many in their lives. Unfortunately for some, they do not survive it. It is now that we are left with the aftermath, the withdrawal from the narcissist and their sugary sweet attention and fake love. Now it is gone and we are left with emptiness that is now amplified in contrast to before we met them. This is extremely painful for the target. It is at this point that we must get guidance and support and start to first, slowly and tediously, start to rebuild our self-esteem, the narcissist dismantled and damaged, and then to address the hole we have been left with since our childhood. The target has to learn to see that there is a way out. Long and hard it is, but there is a way out nonetheless. Effectively, the narcissist has given you a taste of what can be. You have felt what it is like to be complete, even if only for a short time, and based in the interactions with an insincere, lying, personality disordered person. The turning point and the beginning of healing is when the individual begins to understand that the feelings they crave can be acquired through healthy ways that do not involve destructive and abusive people. They can start to see how and why they were susceptible to falling for the narcissist's illusions and lies. They start to learn to understand how their childhoods have affected them and the vital work they need to do on the self from this point on. We learn to be able to now, as adults, fill the painful hole, the wound that we've been left with. It is on the path of doing this difficult work that we can genuinely and honestly leave the narcissist behind. We begin the journey to self-love and self-acceptance and go forward armed and protected by the knowledge of these types of people and being fooled no more by their manipulations and illusions.